You're watching SABC News Live from Johannesburg. Here are your headlines. As many people are traveling to various destinations for the festive season, the Border Management Authority says the Mananga port of entry with the Kingdom of Eswatini is ready for the expected high number of Mozambican travelers. Police are investigating the causes of two separate crashes in which 19 people have been killed in the Eastern Cape and 7 in Limpopo in the past 24 hours.
I want to make it clear that this act will be implemented and its implementation will be led by me.
Basic Education Minister Tabo says guidelines for implementing the BELA Act will be sent to public schools by the end of January. Welcome to the week ahead. We are live with you from our SABC News studio here in Johannesburg for the next 2 hours. Good afternoon, If you'd like to participate, please give us a call to share a comment or ask a question. The number is 011-714-0680 or 81 or 82. As always, it's an honor to have you with us this afternoon. Minister of Basic Education Tabo says guidelines will be sent to public schools by the end of January for the implementation of the Basic Education Laws Amendment Act. This after President Cyril Ramaphosa's directive on Friday that the BELA Act must be implemented in its entirety following their contestation of clauses 4 and 5, which deal with admissions and language policies.
It is important to note that the timelines for implementing these will be set by me, and I will move with pace. However, it must also be noted that these do take time. It is important because this is an important part of any legislation, and so the BELA Act will be no different. I want to make it clear that this act will be implemented and its implementation will be led by me. The implementation will be done in a manner that protects the rights of all our children and all our schools from any form of victimization at all times. Pursuant to this, I have already instructed my team to immediately develop guidelines that will be sent to public schools and provincial education departments by the end of January 2025. These guidelines will support school governing bodies, provincial education departments, in implementing certain sections of the BELA Act. This is important for harmony and clarity in the sector. Furthermore, I have instructed the Department of Basic Education and the Director General to continue with pace the process of developing draft regulations, norms and standards, and policy that will inform the implementation of this Act.
The Border Management Authority, BMA, says it is ready to deal with an influx of people crossing into Mozambique through the Mananga border port of entry between Eswatini and South Africa. The BMA has engaged with Eswatini counterparts to discuss their preparedness for the possibility of a resumption of disruptions in Mozambique. They are now briefing the media. Let us listen in.
Tsonga concept, meaning it is an operation where people have to let us know. So today we embark on a journey to empower citizens to be active participants, particularly when it comes to issues of securing our borders. You will remember within the context of the BMA tagline that says we are intending to secure borders for development. So this particular operation, it is a call for action for all the travelers, but also including the entire community members to join hands with the Border Management Authority in combating unlawful activities in our ports of entry as well as the broader border law enforcement space. So this festive season brings with it increased movement across our borders, as it were. While it signifies vibrant trade, travel, but it also presents opportunities for those who wish to exploit the system for illegal activities. So with your vigilance and cooperation, we can turn our port of entry into an impenetrable gateway for legitimate trade and travel while stopping illegal activities in their tracks. Operation Hitivise is designed to mobilize and guide citizens in identifying and reporting suspicious activities. You, the public, are our eyes and ears on the ground, and your vigilance is essential in creating a safe and secure border environment. So here are the key guidelines for reporting suspicious activities within the context of this operation. Be aware that our services are free at ports of entry. All our officials are supposed to serve you without requesting for any money. All goods getting into our port of entry must be declared, and therefore they are accordingly processed in other instances by officials from the South African Revenue Service, as well as being monitored, searched and checked for compliance by our agricultural biosecurity specialists. There is supposed to be no facilitators at the port of entry. Only uniformed officials are supposed to operate and facilitate the movement of travelers in between our ports of entry. If you notice anything unusual, such as individuals acting nervously or vehicles loitering without clear purpose, take note. Suspicious behavior can include smuggling attempts, fraudulent document exchanges, or any unusual patterns in travelers or vehicle movement. Now we want to then provide the guidance as follows. When reporting suspicious activities, include as many details as possible. Firstly, describe what you hear or what you see, e.g., somebody requesting money in exchange for a service, illicit objects being facilitated, unruly behavior by BMA staff, or exchanges that appear out of place. Who was involved? You need to physically describe, particularly, for example, attire or even behavior. BMA and our law enforcement officials do wear name tags. Therefore, when you report any suspicious activity, give us the name of the official that was involved in the activity. Thirdly, when and where did it occur? It is always important to keep the date, the time, and specific location within which this activity has taken place, or a particular port that it has taken place, or describing a vulnerable segment closer to a particular port of entry. Fourthly, you need to assist in terms of how the activity has unfolded. For instance, the sequence of events, how did this whole activity had and therefore unfolded? So with all of this guidance, we would like to then announce the BMA toll-free number that is supposed to be used by the travelers, community members, and any other stakeholder critical in the border operations, as it were. Those suspicious activities can be reported at the following BMA toll-free number: 0801 229 019. Once again, the number is 0801 229 019. This hotline is operational 24 hours, and it is operational for 7 days in a week, and is operational throughout the entire year. So all of the reported matters will be treated with the utmost confidentiality. Our officials are committed to assist in curbing corruption. If you prefer to remain anonymous, your identity will not be disclosed. What matters most is the information you provide, which will enable our team to take swift and effective action. While your vigilance is key, it is important not to confront or engage any suspicious activity yourself. Leave the intervention to us as trained professionals to be able to deal with the situation. So Operation Hitivise symbolizes the power of partnership between the Border Management Authority and our citizens. By working together, we can strengthen the integrity of our borders and ensure that only lawful activities take place at our ports of entry. I want to assure you that every report received will be thoroughly investigated by our teams and appropriate action will be taken to address any security threats. In turn, we pledge to keep you informed and updated on the impact of your efforts in terms of transparent reporting as well as regular engagements. So, ladies and gentlemen, the BMA is committed to ensure seamless, secure, as well as efficient border operations during this festive season and beyond. Operation Hitivise represents a shared responsibility in achieving this goal. With your support, we can create a border environment that reflects the values of society and, of course, ensuring the safety, accountability, as well as cooperation. Together, let us make Operation Hitivise a resounding success. It is simply described as if you see something, say something. In conclusion, we are today sitting here with the executive mayor of the Etlazeni district, municipality of which the Libombo Port of Entry is a part of. That is a demonstration of the collaboration that we have as the Border Management Authority, though operating nationally, but we also interface and interact with the leadership in the local environment, and that is why the mayor is here, and therefore we are launching this particular operation in his presence, so that even across our vulnerable segments in this side of the border environment, the communities within the district should effectively be given the numbers to be able to report them to us, so that we can then be able to action the activities. You also saw that in the past few weeks when we were here, we were with the MEC for safety, MEC Masia, who was part of the operations here. Again, is a demonstration of the collaboration that we have with the local leadership, the provincial leadership, as we do this work in the various areas. At the same time, we do have warrant officer here with us from Interpol. You will note that we did sign a memorandum of understanding with the director of Interpol, Brigadier Mukine, and part of the interaction between the Border Management Authority and Interpol is to make sure that we work together to deal with characters or individuals that are very much problematic and make sure that they do not enter the country and come and do their nefarious activities in this country. So on that basis, we work with them, we share data, and we are able to be alerted when individuals attempting to enter the country are either on the red notice, on the yellow notice, or any other different types of notices that are sitting in the database of Interpol, so that we are able to make sure that we indeed protect South Africa's national security imperatives. So that is the essence. The number is available. The only thing that we want to indicate, because we have seen some signals starting to emerge, we do not want people to use the number for what it is not meant to be used for. Some people were starting to call the number and say, hey, Hanti, when are you advertising the border guards? We want to come in and we've been looking at. Others say, no, we have applied, but things are not moving. So we are just saying for those kind of issues that are handled by human resources, this particular number is not for those kind of activities. It is for the purposes of reporting corruption among our officials, some facilitators within the ports of entry, or incidences where people enter the country illegally, so that we can be able to act on that information as the Border Management Authority and the rest of the stakeholders that are involved in border management work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mark.
All right, Border Management Authority there launching Operation Festive at the Mananga port of entry between Eswatini and South Africa. And you've just listened to Dr. Michael Masiapata, who is the Commissioner for the BMA, certainly just sort of telling South Africans that only uniformed personnel are allowed to process vehicles and everyone crossing the border, and also emphasizing there that for any suspicious activity, you have the right to inform authorities, even if it means on condition of anonymity. And of course, he's actually saying that this operation at Divisa is meant to ensure the safety of travelers during this festive season, even beyond. The week ahead continues after this short break. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching The Week Ahead. One of the country's leading Sunday newspapers is finally closing its doors on its print editions after 4 decades of circulation. City Press is transitioning to the digital landscape. Management says this is not a closure, but a transformation into a space that fits the times.
A shift towards digital content consumption. Though it's been long coming, the staff is now stuck with its reality.
Some of us are old school, but you know, things have evolved.
I'm excited that we are taking this brand into, digital heights, and I can't wait for our readers to really jump on board with us.
It's quite a sad day, but also an exciting transition, because we know that where we are going is where our readers are.
People will just have to move with the times and realize that we are in this age now where everything is online and it's just so much more convenient.
I'm quite happy. We're moving with times.
Younger generations especially are already accessing news via smartphones, tablets and laptops rather than purchasing printed newspapers. And for many, the change is inevitable.
Often I have a conversation with people and I ask them, people of my age, and ask them, does any of your children buy newspapers? And almost without exception, all of them say no. So our children are our future. So if our children are not buying newspapers, who's going to buy these newspapers tomorrow? But our children are on our phones all the time. They're on their gadgets. They're on their laptops.
Management says the move isn't just a response to global trends, but a strategic decision to meet readers where they are.
What we are doing is basically following readers to where they already are at. People are consuming everything digitally these days. None of us today, very few of us, have a landline at home. Everybody communicates via cell phone. So this instrument here, called it a cell phone, is where everything is happening.
While sympathizing with the newspaper's traditional readers, Makanya has, however, highlighted that moving online will open new ways of storytelling and expanding their digital audience.
We have gone through the different stages of grief, and from initially shock and sadness to excitement. Now we are very excited about what's to happen. So, because it allows us to now focus on one thing. This allows us to focus on a really high quality digital product, which will still do the same great work that the Print City Press has been doing, but with a lot of other innovations, because what technology allows you to do is to tell stories very differently.
Makanya added that the publication promises to maintain the high standards that readers expect, but this time in a digital format. Mulimo Motwa, SABC News, Randbeck.
Well, staying with that story, Media 24 has reached a significant turning point, with City Press, Daily Sun and the BELA printing their last editions this weekend, following Rapport last weekend. This marks the end of an era for these iconic publications as they migrate fully to the digital world. This transition highlights the growing challenges of sustaining print media in the digital age, but it also raises important questions about how media houses adapt to evolving consumption patterns and what this means for journalism in South Africa. Joining us to discuss this pivotal moment are Matata Zedu, veteran journalist and former editor-in-chief of publications like the Sunday Times and City Press. Mondli Makanya as well is joining us. He's current City Press editor alongside William Baird, who's director of Media Monitoring Africa. They're actually joining us online, but in studio we have Amos Mananyetso, editor of the Daily Sun, and of course he is here in studio. But perhaps let's first start reflecting on this shift with Mr. Zedu. Having witnessed the evolution of journalism over the decades, what are your thoughts on the closure of these print editions?
For people of my age who are used to having a paper in your hand, this is a significant point. But for many people, it shouldn't be, because they are already consuming news digitally. What is happening really is a change of the platform on which the same content will be available. That's all that is happening here today. Mondi will still be there tomorrow. He'll produce news in the same way that he's been doing throughout. And if we look back at the time when all this digital migration started happening in the 90s, it was like the Wild West, because people were just producing stuff and they would say, as long as I'm first with the news, even if it is wrong, I'll correct it because it's online. But that has stopped. Mainstream journalism is about verification, ethical treatment of facts, and fairness in the treatment of the people about which the stories are being written. So you don't see the kind of recklessness that used to be there before. What you find today, it's pure, real journalism online for mainstream, what we're calling mainstream media. But of course, digitization has also produced its other byproducts, which is the social media stuff, where anyone can put anything out and it becomes a new Wild West over there. But as far as the journalism and news is concerned, what is happening here today, it's like what I would say, when we as Africans were communicating wireless way before colonization, and we were using smoke to do that. When we migrated from that smoke into whistles and eventually radio and print, it's a migration of the mechanism and not of the content itself.
Yeah, interesting. Let's bring Mondli Makanya in here. I mean, Mondli, what factors ultimately led to this decision for City Press?
So this is a moment that has been long in coming. As Matata has pointed out, the advance of technology has been coming at us for a very long time. It makes things easier, but also people have actually been migrating from reading physical newspapers, physical magazines, and moving to online. So into the digital space. So I mean, one of the conversations I've been having with people over the past few months, after this decision went public, was that it's not us. We're actually just following our readers to where our readers are. And our readers are on their cell phones, they are on tablets, they are on their laptops. So we are just doing the natural thing. And people, so you asked me the factors that led to this. Look, newspaper circulations have been declining all around. Throughout the world, and South Africa is no exception. And then over the past few years, COVID hit very hard. It broke people's habits. People have been the people who were used to getting up in the morning, going to the corner shop or the garage to buy a newspaper, were not doing that. And then when the lockdown ended, that habit had been broken. So it made a big dent into circulation. So in a way, it kind of like fast-tracked what we were going to do anyway, maybe kind of like maybe 2-3 years from today, but like this has been fast-tracked. And then the reality is that the economy is not doing wonderfully. And advertising revenues are very down across the media sector. So this was a natural thing for us to do, to actually say, okay, now we are here. Let us take the big leap now that we would have taken a few years anyway. And that is exactly what we have done.
Yeah, thanks for that, because I just want to pose this question to Amos, who is in studio here with us. I mean, Amos, I just want to get your sense in terms of how this move will impact your readers, especially those who have been depending on this print.
I don't think there is going to be a big impact, as most people would think. Maybe a lot of people think what is happening is journalism is dying, but no, journalism is dying. It's not dying, rather. It's just moving from one platform to the other. So, and already we actually, have moved quite a long time ago. So what we are doing is just that instead of telling the stories in newspaper, we are now telling them online. And people have been asking us, especially as Daily Sun, because of the kind of reader that we cater for, as to do they have access, do they know how to use the technology, and so on and so forth. But I'm saying a lot of gogos and kulus and aunts and uncles already in communities are already on WhatsApp groups where they discuss issues of safety, water, schooling, and so on and so forth. So if somebody can send a voice note on WhatsApp, it means they can read Daily Sun or any other media online.
I mean, your newspaper is known for catchy headlines. I mean, I can think of Tokoloshi, Rob's Bazaar. You talk about zombies, you talk about lightnings that are being sold.
Yeah.
How do you reach that point to come up with these kind of headlines?
Well, every story in every newsroom, dictates what the headline would look like. It's the contents of the story that dictates, what the headline would look like. Because we don't make the news. We tell the news or we tell stories as we receive them from the, communities or our readers and followers. So we are just known for telling our stories in a different way, and that's how we end up coming with all these creative headlines.
I just want to bring in William Bett here because he's also one of our guests. I mean, William, from a media monitoring perspective, what do these closures signify for the media landscape in South Africa?
Look, I think it's clear, as all of the guests have said, this is part of the shift to digital and things that are almost inevitable. I think for me, one of the big losses, though, is that one of the core differences between a print entity and an online entity is that when you get the print entity, it's something that has been carefully curated by the editor. So the selection of the front page story, the front page images, the headline, all of these things, and then the content as you move through the different sections, you get to see and hear, and they are shaping what they consider to be the critical issues of the day or of that week, right? Daily Sun was able to use those zombie and Tokolos headlines, for example, in order to get people to buy the newspaper. And then once you got beyond those first few pages, you'd find really interesting, critical forms of journalism within that. When you go online, that thing's very difficult to navigate in anywhere near the same way. That sense of voice and that ability to curate isn't done by an editor now. It's done by an algorithm. It's done by, and it's influenced by the social media platform, if you're on that, or it's influenced by the nature of the website. Often websites will say, these are our top stories, not on the basis of what they think these are the key stories. They're done on the top stories of these are the most popular stories that are there, and those tend to be the ones that you see first. And so the way that impacts how we think and understand our sense of community, our sense of common reality, I think that's one of the real big losses that we haven't yet started to find a meaningful way to navigate around. And so in as much as these are understandable and necessary financial decisions, etc., these are critical losses. You know, if you think of the voice that Matata Tseru brought to City Press, and you think of the voice that Amondi Makanya has brought to City Press, you think of the voice that Daily Sun brought to the communities that they serve. Those things are very different when you move to an online kind of spaces. And then when you try and say, well, how do we deal with that? And how do we still try and build that sense of community, that common sense of what it is to be in South Africa at this juncture with these issues, with these challenges, these excitements, these wonderful things that are going on. And that is a lot more difficult.
And this transition, William, makes me wonder if it's a broader trend and how really it impacts access to information, especially for communities with limited internet access.
Well, exactly. I mean, so, you know, a lot of people get WhatsApp data packages. They don't have the access to full online. I think one of our country's biggest missteps and biggest challenges, biggest national failures, frankly, is that we haven't managed to provide fast, reliable access to the internet for all people. Everyone should have that by now. You know, there's no reason for that not to be the case. But what that does mean is that the kinds of communities and audiences that these and other news organizations are serving are going to be the poorer for it, because they don't have the ability to sit there and surf all day online, because they don't have access to, you know, fast, reliable Wi-Fi that can give them these things and know the platforms. And then you introduce the next issue, which is critical literacy and digital and media literacy, which is a skill that we haven't also been developing at the same time. So the kind of ability for people to be misled very easily, for them to not see and access credible, reliable news content is something that is again a global challenge.
And of course, you might have actually noticed that we do invite callers to actually take part in this show. We have Moses from Springs. Moses, good afternoon to you. Just talk to us. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Moses from Palm Springs. I've been reading City Press since 1980-something when Percy Cobos, he was creating the story. But because of you guys, of the politicking, you destroy the media of South Africa. Lies every weekend. We've been told Zuma this, Zuma that, black people this, black people this. You never tell us anything from the people what is doing against us.
Okay.
Yeah. It is why the people run away from buying the
All right, Moses, thanks.
Yeah, and I remember where you guys did to black people, and the media, he was the one who gave us the freedom. Percy Cobos and other people give us the freedom about that press. That press was, Percy Cobos was banned to be open that press. But because of you guys, of the Western mentality of destroying the black people, now the City Press is closed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, a huge claim there by Moses Mondli. I wonder if you have anything to say about that, and just perhaps while answering that, just talk to us about, you know, the biggest challenges City Press and Daily Sun face as they fully embrace these digital platforms.
Okay. Firstly, I just want to say, like I did spell out the reasons why we got to where we are at, and that's got nothing to do with people running away from us because we tell lies or that we're politically biased or whatever. The reality is that we are governed by, as print media and online media, etc. We are governed by the Press Council. There's a press ombud, and there's a press code that governs us. So we cannot just willy-nilly tell lies. And then you guys in broadcasting, you've got the BCCI, BCCSA, sorry, yeah, lots of acronyms there. So anyway, so all of us are governed by very strict codes, so we cannot just go and make up stuff. And if we tell lies, we have to correct them the very next week or soonest thereafter. So there's no going out and telling lies about Jacob Zuma. The things that we have written about Jacob Zuma are things that are factual, and Jacob Zuma knows that. And we are not out on a mission to destroy black people. Why would we want to destroy black people when we are black people ourselves? I mean, so what we do, we hold people to account. If there's corruption, we will report corruption. If the good happens, we will report the good. And then just to there is no such. So I just want to state fundamentally that no newspaper goes out there to tell a lie, or any media house to tell a lie, or to peddle falsehoods. Secondly, I mean, and then kind of to your question about the challenges that we face. I mean, I think one of the big challenges is what William has pointed out. I mean, I think access to data is going to be an issue. But, let's not underestimate the fact that people are already online. I mean, people are on TikTok, people are on Facebook, etc., etc. So a lot of people do have access, even in the remotest of corners. The people, I think that the big challenge that we're going to face are people who are actually educated, middle class or upper class people who want to touch the newspaper. Those are going to be the biggest resistance of this news. Matata did say earlier on, Matata said earlier on that kind of the people of a certain generation will find it more difficult to adapt to the new era. And then the other challenge is obviously, I mean, it's a challenge and an opportunity. What digital does, it allows you to tell stories in so many different ways. I mean, we have access to, we can do audio, we can do video, we can do so many interactive things. So I'm seeing more of opportunity than challenges and obstacles on this road.
Just because of time, we're just going to wrap it up in 30 seconds to the four of you. Perhaps let's start with Mr. Tsedu. I mean, with these closures, what steps can media houses take to remain relevant and financially sustainable in the digital era?
I think in a real way, they must just pray that the economy of the country improves, because only when that happens will the media economies also improve. The real danger that faces South African media and media generally throughout the world is the media economics. The digital platforms haven't been able to produce the kind of money that print was producing before.
Mr. Bed?
I think for them to survive now in a digital era, they're going to have to look for platforms other than using the traditional social media platforms, build their own digital entities and relationships with their audiences, and really continue to highlight why journalism itself is a public good and an essential element of building a democratic state. You can't have a democracy without a diverse, pluralistic media environment. It's that simple.
Amos?
I think, like Monji says, there's actually a brighter future for the media as we go into the digital era. For an example, data shows us that 67% of ad spend in the coming year, 2025-2026, 67% of ad spend is going to migrate from print into digital media. So that on its own is good news for us, because then we'll be able to sustain the kind of journalism, which is high quality journalism that we've been producing over the years.
Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. I highly appreciate it. Thank you to our guests here, Matata Tsedu, Mondli Makanya, William Bed, as well as Amos Mananyetso for joining us this afternoon on this important conversation. We'll still keep watching it closely as the days go by. Do stay with us here at The Week Ahead. We will be back after this short break. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We know drunk driving leads to road accidents and fatalities across the country, and especially during the holiday periods. Limpopo is one province that's looking to reduce this phenomenon through an alcohol curfew, meaning having reduced alcohol trading hours. But the province is also dealing with another hazardous type of crime on its road, that of spiking. There have been reports of criminals nailing sharp objects on the road surfaces in order to cause punctures and then rob motorists thereafter. To hear more on how law enforcement is dealing with both these and the issue of the proposed alcohol curfew, I'm now joined by the Limpopo Provincial Police spokesperson, Brigadier Tulani Mashaba. Brigadier, thanks so much for joining us. We have seen videos of spikes on the roads in some provinces, including Limpopo and the Northwest. How pervasive is this crime trend in your province of Limpopo, and how have you dealt with it?
Thank you so much, Mac, for having us this afternoon. Let me say that this is a phenomenon in most provinces, especially along the major roads. In Limpopo, it's no exception. Let me tell you that we have been working very hard through our coordinated law enforcement and intelligence-driven operation to ensure that we nab the perpetrators who are involved in the spiking incident along our major road. Just in November, we have been able to arrest about 4 suspects who were involved in these robbery cases and spiking incidents along the N1. But this is the work that we've been doing extensively with Gauteng province together with the Northwest. So we managed to arrest the suspects at Brits and then in Temba as well. So since appeared at court. But let me just say that the suspects were arrested for robbery. That actually happened in June 2024 in BELA. And also we arrested further suspects, some of the same suspects who were involved for the murder that happened in July 2024. So they have since appeared on the 15th of November 2024 at BELA Magistrate Court, and their cases were therefore postponed to the 9th of December for further bail application. But I can tell you now, they remain in custody. We are dealing decisively with the issue of spiking along our major roads in the province. So the province is hard at work to ensure that we deal decisively with spikers along our major roads.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, arrests that have been made, which I guess it's a relief for motorists, especially during this time of the year, during this festive rush. But what sort of sentences are we looking at here for criminals who use this method of robbery? Is it an added charge?
Let me say that the charges that are obviously put against them is that, like I've indicated, it's robbery with aggravating circumstances and also issues of murder, because people have been murdered in the process. So those are some of the charges that we have brought before the court, and then it's up to the court to impose harsher section or sentences against these criminals.
And is there anything motorists can do to avoid being victims of spiking on the roads? Or what should they do or not do following a spiking incident?
What we can advise as the police is that people should consider driving during, the day instead of during the night, because we have noticed that most of these incidents happen during the early hours or during midnight. So if people have got sufficient time, let them consider traveling during the day, so that it is actually easy, because these people, they go and mount these spikes, especially during the early hours or during midnight. These spikers, they don't normally do it during the day, so it's normally during midnight or during the early hours. So we're calling upon motorists to consider driving during the day. But now, because we are in the safer festive season and beyond as well, we'll continue to intensify our operations along those major roads. We've got our highway patrol. We also have our traffic that are working jointly with us as part of the integrated policy.
And another big issue you are confronted with on the roads during this time of the year is that of drunk driving. Your Provincial Deputy Police Commissioner, Major General Jan Skippers, proposing an alcohol curfew in Limpopo through the amendment of the Limpopo liquor regulations. How far are we with that, Brigadier? Will it be implemented anytime soon?
Let me just say that indeed we had a stakeholder engagement around the 14th of November at Miropa Casino, where the Deputy Provincial Commissioner for Policing, Major General Skeppers, represented the Provincial Police in that regard. Let me say as a start that, alcohol is the leading contributor to various crimes in the province, not in Limpopo per se, but in all provinces. As you will know, Meg, the statistics are alarming. Your rapes, your assault, your murders, your domestic violence, and road fatalities, in most cases, as a result of alcohol consumption. So there is a link between most crimes and alcohol. Hence, we made our inputs very clear and decisive as well to say that the thoroughly dead, the Limpopo economic development, we must look at the, amendment of the Limpopo liquor regulations. So we had to make our inputs, and we have made our inputs very clear to say we must look at the issues of regulating the operating times, because we believe that if we can do that, and then our people can be safe on the road and elsewhere. And one thing that we've noticed, in most cases, due to the fact that people are involved in drunk driving or drinking, in that regard, you find that we take some of our resources to go and focus on this thing while we should be focusing on serious crimes that are happening, like your house breakings that normally happen during the early hours. We should be diverting all our resources to focus on these crimes. But you find that people are drunk, and then we have to focus on issues of drunk driving, and also looking at the fact that some of the people are raped as a result of them being drunk, especially during the early hours. So if we can look at the issue of adjusting the closing time or operating time for some of these liquor outlets, we believe that, our job will be done. We will be doing, justice to the job that we are doing, so that we channel our resources where they are mostly needed.
And you talk about channeling your resources where they are mostly needed. I mean, beyond just drunk driving, Brigadier, what are the other concerns that the amendment of the Limpopo liquor regulation aims to address?
What we are also looking at, you will know that just recently, most of the learners were writing their exams, and as a result, we had to make sure that there is a stricter noise regulation so that our learners are able to write and study in peace. So hence we are calling for some of these regulations. So we believe that the regulation will actually assist in that regard. But also, as we go forward, it must not be seen as if the police are against any selling of alcohol. We are not against that. We are not against the livelihood of, liquor outlets owners. But we want them to work with us as part of the community so that we can rid our communities of the prevalent crimes that are actually related to the alcohol abuse. So they need to come and assist us. It's not like it's a personal attack on their businesses. We want their business to thrive, but at the same time, we are saying that their businesses should be regulated. And if there are operating times that are there, they must adhere to those operating times. Because if they don't do that, then we'll have to act decisively as the police to ensure that the rule of law is enforced without fear or favor.
Brigadier, thanks so much for your time. That was Brigadier Tlolani Mashaba, who is Limpopo Provincial Police spokesperson. Now to this, as the festive season is upon us, many of us are scrambling to find the perfect getaway destination. But with some of the usual hotspots becoming increasingly unaffordable and concerns over safety and cleanliness, where can you go to have a memorable and enjoyable holiday? Our team has been exploring some alternative options, and we've found some hidden gems along the KwaZulu-Natal coastline. From stunning beaches to scenic rural landscapes, KZN has something to offer for every kind of holiday maker. Our producer Sandy Letlangani put together this beautiful insert for us. Let's take a listen.
We have moved away from the usual holiday destinations and ended up on the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal. Umtamvuna River separates the provinces of KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. It's here at the Ponte Holiday and Sports Resort. You can come here for jet skis, to cruise on a boat, or to lie on a cube while speedboat is pulling you.
I mean, I like the corners, where it goes fast. That was the highlight of the whole trip. Yeah, it was really nice.
At Mark Banana, we find out about all things banana, and that it's actually a flower and not a fruit. We learn about livestock and a bit of more adventure with obstacle courses.
I would say it was crazy, but for me, I believe that I'm very athletic, so this was very easy for me to quickly adapt to all the adrenaline and stuff.
We hear that they have squad bikes too, but maybe on another day. We move up to the small town of Margate, where a recently renovated airport has flights that can bring people directly from Johannesburg.
We do have an airport, it's called the Market Airport. The Market Airport is actually very busy with commercial flights, but those flights, they are not every day. They don't launch every day or they don't leave every day. They leave on particular days, mainly for business tourism. But our leisure tourism, families, groups and friends alike use cars and they do self-drives and they come to this beautiful part, which is called the Paradise of the Zulu Kingdom.
Beaches here have blue flags. It means there are clean waters for holiday makers to enjoy.
I think today we've sampled the South Coast pretty well. I mentioned that, of course, the main attraction in this region is the pristine beaches. They have 7 golden beaches, if I can call them this, but they're called the blue flag. They have a blue flag status.
Establishments here seem to take full advantage of the rivers, lakes, and the ocean. At Blue Malone of Scotsburg, we found holiday makers having fun around the swimming pool, which is overlooking the warm Indian Ocean. Along the coast, there's also Margate Sands. So, if you find yourself struggling to find space in the big cities that are more popular holiday destinations, or if you are worried about affordability in places like Cape Town, rest assured that there are places like South Coast of KZN which are pristine, safe and beautiful holiday destinations.
Sandile Tlangani there, thank you indeed. And of course, that's how we wrap up the first hour of the week ahead. We continue at the top of the hour. Do stay with us. You're watching SABC News live from Johannesburg. Here are your headlines. The death toll in the crash between a bakkie and a minibus on the N2 near Duja has risen to 12. A multidisciplinary road and safety operation has been conducted in Mthatha in the Eastern Cape as part of the continuous effort by the province to make its roads safer but also create a safe environment for tourism to flourish. At least 13 people have died in 2 incidents in Nigeria as crowds scrambled for charity. State police said 3 people were confirmed dead, though eyewitnesses and Amnesty International Nigeria put the death toll at 20 with more injured. Welcome back to the week ahead here on the SABC News channel. We are live with you from our Johannesburg studios. I'm Margate Mthabe. You are still welcome to participate in our conversations. Give us a call on our studio number. It's 011-714-0680 or 81 or 82. It's an honor to have you with us at this hour. The prison escape saga involving rape and murder convict Tabo Bester, together with his lover, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, her father, Zolile Zekeleni, and 6 others, has continued to capture the attention of the nation as the accused returned to court in 2024 to get ready for the trial. But delays became a recurring issue as the accused changed lawyers and Bester launched an application to get a fair trial. This matter will be back in the Free State High Court in February 2025.
The country waited with anticipation for the return of the accused in the Tabo Bester prison escape case, with the hope that the matter will reach quick completion. However, the year kicked off with a change of legal representation as 4 accused turned to legal aid due to lack of funds. In what many described as protecting herself, Dr. Nandipha Magudumana is also paying Zimbabwean national Zanda Moyo's legal fees. Moyo is reported to have been Magudumana's employee and instrumental in aiding her to gain access to a deceased body at the government mortuary in Bloemfontein. The pre-trial was postponed to June to have all parties get lawyered up and ready. A Bloemfontein legal commentator says she expects more delays in February next year as Bester still has a pending application for a fair trial and jurisdiction. However, Magudumana's court challenge will not have a bearing on the trial.
Even if the SCA give us the decision, which is in favor of non-depa or is against on non-depa, it's not going to implicate much or make it a delay much on this trial for February for 2025. It's not going to make it, because if she's been released or get the results that are good for her, basically it's going to be a freedom of a minute, and then she'll be arrested again in South Africa. Still, when she's arrested, then she's still going to continue. Still remember that the attorneys and the NPA for this case for trial to proceed on 2025, they said they are ready. So probably everything is ready for them. They're going to proceed whether the SCA decision is going to be in favor or not in favor.
While other accused returned to court in June ready to proceed, Bester and Tabo Bester were still not ready. Bester's lawyers withdrew from the case, leaving him unrepresented yet again. Beste's finances forced him to take up legal aid. As soon as advocate Mohammed Sidat stepped down, Bester stunned the courtroom and by extension the nation as he requested to address Free State High Court Judge President Kekni Musi. In full view of the country, he told the court that he would take all the blame for the escape and that his co-accused were blameless.
And Your Honor, with my last point, that I feel it's unfair for these people that are sitting here as my so-called accused to be in court when I know very well they have nothing to do with this. When I know very well that they were not present in any of these issues that are in this indictment, the people that are being protected by the investigating team are very clearly known. I have more than enough evidence to prove that this thing is much more than just an average people that are working at an institution called G4S that just decided on one day to release me. It's highly impossible for them to do that without political power or with other high office involved in this issue.
The court postponed the matter to July to allow Bester to get legal representation.
Yes, may I suggest the following. Engage the services of a legal representative, and you may want to consider instructing them to bring a formal application to a court, a competent court, to deal with your application, to consult in a manner that would respect and protect the privilege of the attorney or legal representative and client.
The issue of delay tactics by Bester was brought into the spotlight. A legal analyst says despite his utterances that others are blameless, he seems to be adamant to delay the trial.
One should ask, is this going to be a further delay? And if so, what about the other 8 accused? Fair trial rights if the matter is further delayed. The trial date has already been set, and because of the number of parties involved, the number of accused involved, one can expect that it's not easy to set down a matter of this gravity and nature to any date. So one would expect that it would be in the interest of justice and the fair trial rights of the other accused that the matter proceed in February.
In July, Bester brought advocate Lerato Moela as his lawyer, but this did not fast-track the case. In fact, others see this as a further delaying tactic on his part. But Zayden Holt believes that Bester's remarks might be used against him in future.
Because of the proceedings and the nature of the pre-trial proceedings, it can have probative value in terms of evidence. The probative value of that, the state can use it, for example, to confront the accused. Should he turn around and say, but he's denying that, Tabo Bester, then the state can say, but you made these allegations, and the state can use it to say that that is a previous inconsistent statement, which can have a negative bearing on his credibility as a witness.
Sina Khomu also weighs in.
It's not going to have an impact. Remember, all of them, they're involved in other ways. NPA, they said that they have a strong case against all of them. So they cannot just proceed with them and just because Bester says that they don't have any involvement on this escape, then they will be just released. There will be application that has to be made for them to be released, which is going to be done by their attorneys, not by Bester.
2 years on, the family of the man whose body was used as decoy to assist Bester to escape from prison still awaits justice. They say the wheels of justice are turning too slow for them as Katlego Bering's mother suffers depression.
We have prepared ourselves. It's not a nice experience. We are from time to time reminded that everybody in the courtroom is innocent. Even the judge looks at even the suspects as innocent people. So until that final day when somebody will be found guilty. So it reminds us every time we come here that we have buried Katlego. Somebody has done it. Whoever has done it, we're still looking for those answers. We still can't wait for the day that justice will be done.
While the matter was between court dates, a former co-accused, Natasha Jansen, who had charges against her withdrawn due to lack of evidence, had a tussle with the prosecution. According to a letter written to Jansen by the prosecution, she was informed that she was a compellable witness. Her lawyer, Masilo Kwenani, said at the time the charges were withdrawn against Jansen, the state advanced no condition. In October, the public protector released a damning report into Tabo Bester's escape. The report details blunders by the Department of Correctional Services controller, who failed to immediately open a case despite the National Commissioner of Correctional Services issuing an instruction for a case to be opened when he was ultimately informed about Bester's escape in November 2022. Bester was captured together with Dr. Nandi Pamagudumana in Tanzania in April 2023. With all these at play, Bazaidin Holt says how the matter proceeds in February 2025 will be a display of the legal system in the country.
One can expect that it will be quite a public display of how the wheels of justice is turning. And one can expect that the defense, all of the representatives, will really contest the evidence that the state will lead. This is very public, a public trial, and all eyes are on the trial.
Kamagelo Siekwi, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
The Border Management Authority says it is ready to deal with an influx of people crossing into Mozambique through the Mananga border post of entry between Eswatini and South Africa. The BMA has engaged with its Eswatini counterparts to discuss their preparedness for the possibility of a resumption of disruptions in Mozambique. Tumelo Machongo is standing by for us at the border. Tumelo, thanks so much indeed for joining us. Can you just tell us about the situation on the ground at this stage? We have seen BMA Commissioner Dr. Michael Masiapato launching Operation Divisa. I just want to get a sense of how things are looking at this stage.
Well, indeed, the Bombo border gate is one of those border gates that is very, very busy, and it's busy again today. There was traffic that was going on that was actually blocking the road, and a lot of people, frustrated drivers, actually driving onto oncoming traffic, and at some point people could not move, and the movement of cars could not, it was on a standstill for hours. But now there is a bit of movement, and Dr. Masiapato actually updated us saying that, you know, they did go out and send out their officials to go and help also with the traffic department from Mpumalanga to start actually creating a way forward for the people to start traveling and coming into the border. But the border is very busy. There are queues everywhere, and most of the people also, they are leaving their public transport that they are traveling with. They are actually just taking their belongings and just traveling, walking towards the border. People have walked more than 5 kilometers actually just to come to the border. They left their public transport on the road. But let's speak to some of the travelers. This gentleman is traveling to Mozambique. That day we saw you earlier in the queue, and then you told us that you coming from Johannesburg. Just explain to us, you coming from Johannesburg, how long have you been in the queue, and now you're finally at the border?
Sanibonani. Since ngisuka izolo ekusuku ngifike la ngo6 ngisaselana lana kuhambeka indlela ivalekile imoto ziningi lana layini inkulu manje sikhona ukungena manje egedi Manje sizazoma lapha kade eGedo ngoba abantu bagcwele bafuna ukushayisa itembo. Kuyahlupheka lana. Thank you.
Okay, Sebo. You know, yeah, he's saying that, you know, like he arrived here in the morning around about 6 o'clock. So he was on traffic since from 6 o'clock. And then now he managed to get to the border. He just parked his car just close by here. But now, again, that's where the delay will start again, because there are hundreds and hundreds of people actually queuing up to just go and get their passport to be processed, and also to be processed to go to Mozambique. Also, at this stage, trucks have not been able to be crossed now. They say they have stopped trucks for the meantime to allow people to actually start crossing. They have stopped the trucks from coming into the border, and trucks at this stage, they are queuing about 25 kilometers from the border. So they have stopped the trucks from going into Mozambique. They're saying that in the afternoon, that's when they will start allowing trucks, because they would have processed more people, because the traffic that was caused by cars, it was also affecting the trucks that are also outside. So they want to move people first, then they will start moving trucks. But also truck drivers, they're also concerned, because you can imagine they don't want they want to travel today so that they can get out of Mozambique before that constitutional council decision that is expected to be given tomorrow, because some of the Mozambican nationals, they are saying that tomorrow is going to be a standstill in Mozambique, because they all want to hear what the constitutional council is going to say, but they're saying that tomorrow there is going to be a standstill. So the truck drivers are concerned, saying that they want to cross also as quick as possible to go to Mozambique so they can come out today. And Dr. Masia Pato told us that about in the morning they managed to process about 800 trucks into Mozambique, and then also got about 700 trucks that were empty coming from Mozambique going back into South Africa. I'm just going to ask Lungile again, just my colleague Lungile, to show you the traffic that is here at the Lebombo border gate. And a lot of people are wanting to cross the border to go to Mozambique. Look at that traffic. And also some of those people that are in the short, those are the people that are leaving their public transport actually to just walk to the border, because also inside the border there are long queues of people actually coming into the border. There are also long queues of people, long queues of cars. You can imagine it's chaotic here, but people are wanting to cross the border to go to Mozambique before Christmas, and most of these people are migrant workers. They work in Gauteng, in other provinces, so they are coming here to actually to get to cross into Mozambique. But also here there are a lot of officials that are also trying to help, trying to ensure that they assess also the cars that are crossing into Mozambique. There are police officers here that are trying to check if everything is in order. But you can imagine most of these cars, they are packed. They've got a lot of goods that they are traveling with, and they're also like overly packed. You can imagine the cars. This car, this blue one here, I don't know if it's going to arrive where it's going, because it is very, very full, and with products and food in the car. So you can imagine people are ready to go to Mozambique and ready to go home to go and see their families before that decision is made on Monday.
Dumelo, thank you for that update. That was SABC News reporter Dumelo Machoho at the Mananga border post of entry between Eswatini and South Africa. We'll be right back after this short break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. As the festive season is in full swing, concerns about crime in South Africa become increasingly high, with the holidays often bringing heightened activity in shopping, travel and social gatherings. The potential for criminal incidents rises. In response, law enforcement agencies are implementing various strategies to ensure public safety and minimize crime during this busy time. Joining us is our reporter Nandi Pablaki to discuss these efforts, and I understand she's on the end to Inkabecha. Nandi, good afternoon to you. Just talk to us what's happening where you are.
Well, a very good day to you in studio. We are in the N2 in Gqeberha. It's quite busy here today because they doing the traffic operations. The Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, is here today to conduct, to oversee these operations. But right now we'll be moving. As you can see, there's a lot of traffic and people are traveling to different destinations. But with us, we do have the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. Thank you very much, Minister, for speaking to us today. Please tell us what was the objective of these operations and what are you looking forward to today?
Well, this is just one of the operations that we have today in Gqeberha. And in fact, I'm not even talking about today, I'm talking about this period since the launch in early October of our safety season.
We seem to have problems with that link there with Nandipa. Our reporter will try to re-establish it after this short break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. As the festive season rapidly approaches, some of Limpopo's major routes are in the spotlight. According to the Road Traffic Management Corporation, 4 of Limpopo's national roads are among 10 of the most dangerous roads in South Africa. The roads include the R81 between Polokwane and Giyani, as well as the R71 between Polokwane and Tzaneen.
The R521 road between Polokwane and Aldays has also been fingered as notorious for fatal accidents. The road has become a preferred alternative for truckers ferrying goods from Beitbridge border post and Gauteng, as well as other provinces. According to some truck drivers, the R521 is quick and kind on the tank. For some, it provides a safer option for the N1 mountainous bypass between Lutrigat and Musina. The heavily traveled stretch, popularly known as Chambuzi, is also notorious for road fatalities.
Normally we run away from the mountain. Yes, find some other trucks would break down, some have got failing brakes. You see, that's why we use this road, because this one is flat. Yeah, not that we're running away from the targets.
This road, as you can see, it doesn't have too much traffic. And in terms of, like ourselves, we're driving trucks. In terms of fuel consumption, it's quite efficient. We use less fuel when we travel with this road.
That mountain is dangerous. Anything can happen. If your truck, you fail to engage gears, then it will be a problem.
With a few days before Christmas, traffic volumes on the N1 road are steadily increasing. The 105-kilometer stretch between Mohopogo and Polokwane has claimed hundreds of lives over the last few years. It is also known for criminal activities such as drunk driving, robberies and hijackings. Some motorists say they don't always feel safe traveling on the N1.
The roads are good. As for me, I can't complain. The roads are so good. There are less accidents. As for me today, taking the same period last year, the accidents were more than this time. This time the roads are more safe.
Yes, the drivers have got fear from Joburg. We are using R21 up to Pumulani. When you are reached at Pumulani, maybe you feel safe. At that point, there's a lot of sources, a lot of stuff hijacking cars and everything. Yes. So when you are at Pumulani, maybe you started to feeling safe and you're traveling safe. For now, from traveling from Joburg today, I didn't see any accident.
A recent collaborative study by the Limpopo Department of Transport and its stakeholders revealed that insufficient safety features are some of the main causes of road carnage.
These roads have come up with the 1- and 2-star ratings for vehicle occupants and pedestrians. We have produced a priority list, and then that will be able to give more information. But for now, I can advise that D2534, which is close to Marble Hill. Some of our key insights that we identified through our assessments were the danger sections with poor visibility and insufficient safety features, as well as there were interventions for safer pedestrian crossings and traffic traffic calming that are required in certain areas. And high-speed undivided sections we found that were the most hazardous, as well as urban areas we were prioritized for speed management and pedestrian safety improvements. We also noted that the R81 rated a 1-star for both vehicles and pedestrians, and as well as the R522 and the R525. These roads displayed significant crash risks. And the R528 and the N11, we've noticed that these experience frequent incidents.
High levels of pedestrian deaths are also a concern for road and transport authorities in the province. Ruth and Bobori, SABC News, Polokwane.
Staying with that reporting, we are going back to our earlier story where law enforcement agencies are implementing various strategies to ensure public safety and minimize crime during this busy time on the N2 in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. My colleague Nandi Pablaki is there alongside Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to discuss these efforts. Nandipa, good afternoon to you. What can you tell us at this stage?
We are in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape where the National Police are hosting a roadblock here. This road is quite busy with cars coming in and some passing through here between East London and Port Elizabeth. But with me I have the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, who will be telling us about these operations today. Minister, thank you for speaking to us. What's happening here today and what are the objectives of this roadblock?
Where we are, up as corner, we started this operation with the South African Police Service, with Metro Police, SWIWA, with Mayor and with MSC for Economic Development. We started at 11. We are looking for anything that is a breach of any law, of any municipal law. Mayor is happy just now saying that as a result of this operation, where people have breached various regulations of the municipality, fines are now at more than 40,000 rand. Now, I was saying on a lighter note, they need to give us a cut because it's our operations that are here. But on a serious note, 310 abalone have been found here, illegal, have been found to be illegal, with the driver arrested. They are going to go through the process. 2 drunken drivers caught. They are going to go through the legal process. And there are many other offences for which people have been questioned, others fined, as I say. We are quite busy, both roads this way and that way.
Speaking nationally, what are you picking up nationally, like some of the common crimes? What would you say is an issue here in South Africa?
Yeah, I do need to say that this is not an isolated operation even today, even here in Gqeberha. We're from other operations ourselves since this morning. There are other operations elsewhere. There are other operations in every of the 9 provinces by various subs, high-ranking officials, including DMs. This is an operation aimed at a safe festive season in South Africa as a whole. If we were the way, we would literally be everywhere. But we are able to be in every province, almost in every major town and city. And we are operating jointly with Metro Police, with traffic officers and all of that. And it's yielding fruits because everyone in South Africa must know when they get up, when they go to sleep, I must obey the law. There must be order in the country. You mustn't go out to breach laws, and if you do so, we'll pick you up. As I'm making the examples. You won't even go to Christmas. You won't even go for a holiday. You won't even see your friends and enjoy with them. If you breach the law, we'll take care of you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Right now we are going to be bringing in the National Commissioner, General Fani Masemola, just to speak on specifically Gqeberha. This is a crime-infested area. What are some of the crimes that you've picked up in this area, not only during these operations, but throughout the festive season?
Well, the most worrying problem in this area of Gqeberha is serious and violent crime, especially murder, robberies are our main problem. But of course, there is a new trend in Gqeberha of insurance matters, which seems to be coming quite popular here. But our teams, because since we started the cooperation agreement with the Metro, we picked up this. We deployed a team from National to come investigate. They've made inroads. There is one woman that has been already arrested for killing her own son, and she has since been sentenced to 25 years for saving. But there are other crimes similar crimes that we are still investigating. It's quite a lot of them, but we think we are on the right track. We will be able to get those cases ready for prosecution.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. That was the National Commissioner General Fani Masemola explaining to us that insurance fraud has been picked up in this metro, not only in this metro but around the Eastern Cape, and they're working on nabbing the criminals and making convictions. But for now, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you, Nandipa Blaki, there on the N2 in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. To this now, as Christmas is just around the corner, many of us are scrambling to find the perfect gifts for our loved ones. But with so many options out there, it can be overwhelming to decide what to get. To help us navigate the world of Christmas gift ideas, we are joined today via Teams meeting by Kalnisha Singh, founder of KD Strategies. Kalnisha is also a gift-giving expert with a keen eye for unique and thoughtful presents. Ladles of Love CEO Denny Dilberto is also joining us just to tell us how you can help put a hot meal on the less fortunate's tables. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here at the week ahead. Kalnisha, let me start off with you. Talk to us about some unique and thoughtful gift ideas that shouldn't be breaking the bank this Christmas.
So, in terms of my background, you understand that I'm a development economist, and we deal with some of the big problems that society is facing. And we all know that what we never have enough of is time or money. And so my suggestions today are focused on those two categories specifically. So from a money perspective, I think that particularly if we're gifting our children, we need to look at affordable assets and creating a better understanding of money and how money works. And we can definitely tell from the malls that are currently packed that despite it being a very, very difficult economic year, people are still spending ferociously. In terms of affordable assets, we're looking at asset classes like Easy Equities platform, where you can create an account with a very, very small balance and you can start understanding how trading works on those platforms. There's also a really cool product by Fed Group, which is a local company, called Impact Investing, where you can buy a fractional ownership in something like a beehive or a blueberry bush and start understanding how value is created through those commodities. I would also highly recommend starting, in order to create an understanding around cryptocurrencies, looking at platforms like Luno and creating little accounts to start understanding how those markets work. I think financial literacy is a key issue in our country, and if we can start helping our kids and our families understand how those things work, it will be very beneficial. Also, I mean, I'm a woman, right? And the one thing that we all love is jewelry. I think if we can be more discerning about the jewelry that we buy and look at investing in gold jewelry, gold is a very good retainer of value. And can be rather affordable if you are looking at smaller pieces.
Interesting points, yeah. Let me just bring Danny in here, if you would. Let's bring you in here, Danny. At this time of the year, we have to spare thought for those who might not be able, to put food on the table, who might not be fortunate enough to have the kind of delightful feasts many of us will be enjoying. Tell us a bit about Ladles of Love and what you have in store for Christmas Day and the festive season in general.
Thank you very much. Ladles of Love was founded back in 2014, and I started with a single pot of soup, serving the homeless community a nutritious pot of food that just gave them a bit of relief for the rest of the day. And Ladles of Love has continued to grow. We also started connecting with children in the schools. I didn't realize that kids were going to school hungry, so I started connecting with schools. But it was when COVID hit our shores that we expanded exponentially, and we started connecting with community-based kitchens and early childhood development centers, or your preschool centers. And we ensured that these institutions were given enough food supplies for the week so that they could provide their community or their children enough nutrition to provide them a meal every day. Currently, today, we are more focused on our early childhood development or preschool centers. We've got around 6,500 children that we provide 2 nutritious meals a day. And it's really important that I stress nutritious meals, because food, I can give you a box of crisps, and that is food, but it's not nutritious food. It doesn't provide a child the nutrition it needs. So we are very passionate about driving nutrition into our children so that they have the opportunity to learn, grow, and play as children should do.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought the food aspect of it and the gift aspect of the whole conversation. And Kalnisha, just back to you. For those who are struggling to come up with ideas, what are some of popular gift categories, if you would, that are always a hit during the holiday season?
So obviously digital and tech gifts are always a hit amongst the youngsters, but even amongst those of us that are more grown. I think wellness and self-care gifts are also largely appreciated as long as they are coupled with the time component. So if you're giving the woman in your life a spa voucher or some beautiful body lotions and things like that, also allow her to make the space in order to enjoy those things. A lot of kids surveyed recently have indicated the second wish is around more time with the family, which is interesting because as grown-ups and as parents, we also wish for more time with our children without the digital interruptions. So I think as a collective, if we can more consciously spend more time with our families in the coming year or in the future, that would be great. And the ideas there around setting up family game nights, so investing in board games and things like that in your household. Another big wish, interestingly enough, amongst the older generation is, again, more time with their kids. But we know that in South Africa particularly, we are losing a lot of our indigenous history. So there's lots of really interesting ideas around taking time to capture family histories and spending time with your grandparents to write down those stories so that we don't lose those important traditions. The usual suspects, food and drink packages, clothes is always useful at this time of the year, especially for school-going kids. Stationery, backpacks and things like that are always popular. I would advise against, falling into the trap of always buying the new latest game or the new latest toy or the new latest phone, which my kids are hammering on about. Because that just creates a cycle of consumerism that we want to avoid, particularly as we are in a very, very cash-strapped situation collectively.
Interesting. And Danny, just finally to you, how can people who want to volunteer or donate reach you for the festive season, even beyond?
The best way is to head to our website, Ladles of Love, LADLES, ladlesoflove.org.za. Click on Get Involved. There's our volunteer page. You can go on there. You can come and volunteer at our Dignity Kitchen or our soup kitchens. But also we are calling for money. Of course, donations are very important. We want to grow the 6,500 children that we support to 8,000 next year. So we need ongoing donations. We're calling on people to preferably sign up a debit order. 250 Rand feeds a child for a month, 2 nutritious meals a day. So sign a debit order, go onto our website, click the donate button. Or if you're a corporate and want to get involved, we've got team building events. You can get hold of Yolanda at ladlesoflove.org.za, or if you're a corporate and would like to sponsor an ECD, a meal plan for a year or for a month or whatever it is, you can then get hold of Jane at ladlesoflove.org.za.
For your time, indeed, we appreciate it. Ladles of Love CEO Denny Diliberto, of course, sharing his thoughts. Then, of course, is alongside Carl Nisha Singh, who's the founder of KD Strategies. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much indeed. Do stay with us. Week ahead continues after this short break. Well, welcome back. Believe me, you are not lost. You're still watching SABC News Channel 404, the week ahead. Festive mood, of course. I've been requested to put this on because with every year, trends change, whether it be what to buy your children for the Christmas season or what will tantalize the taste buds, but still keeping to favorite traditions. To help us reimagine the menu this season, we're joined in studio today by Nelisi Wasitole, also known as Chef Nels, from the popular Soweto restaurant Sakumzi, which is on the iconic Vilakazi Street, where the Mandela Home Museum is located. Chef, thanks so much for joining us. Talk to us. I mean, is it a headache to come up with Christmas dish? I mean, look at this.
No, I don't think it is a headache. It's just a personal preference. How do you prefer? Personally, myself, I'm a traditional girl. And I always do my traditional dishes. Just to put a twist on it, and you make it the way that can be suitable or delicious for everyone else.
And how do you navigate this challenge every day? I mean, you talk about Sakumzi, popular, well-known restaurant on Vilakazi Street. It's next to the Mandela Museum, where a lot of people get to, drop in and get their meal done there, or even dished up there. Talk to us about this challenge.
So with us at Sakumzi Restaurant, we're sticking to who we are, which is we are a traditional restaurant. And for me personally, it's always a pleasure to have different people coming from different countries to experience our delicious African and South African, also written authentic food. So, which is what we offer. So there's a big range of the dishes that we have that caters for everyone. From vegan, from traditional vegan, I've got a new dish that I've just introduced, nyekwe. Nyekwe is mabele and beans. And that's the vegans and the vegetarians, they love that. So we make sure that we cater for almost everyone that comes to Soweto. If you haven't been to Sakumzi, you haven't been to South Africa.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Let's talk about this here. What do we have to put on the spread for this Christmas? Talk to us, Chef Nelly.
So what I prepared, I made a gammon. A pork belly. So you know the gammons, the pork bellies, those are the dishes everyone says, this is my Christmas dish. So I made my my pork belly there with potatoes and roasted mushroom.
This is the one?
Yes, this is the one. So then, because I'm a traditional girl, I told you, I twisted it a bit, then I made my umleqwa. Umleqwa, which is the hard body chicken.
Yes.
So I made umleqwa, and we will have it with spinach. And I also made istambu, because we are who we are because of Sam. This is what Nelson Mandela used to eat. Mama Winnie, when he was still in Vilakazi Street, he will never leave Vilakazi Street without tasting our Sam.
That's what I want to talk about, because talk about former President Nelson Mandela. He used to come there, right?
So umleqwa, istambu, umkhodu, that's why we have that as our signature dishes. That's what they will come and have daily. Yes.
Quite interesting. And I've got things to unwrap here. You are giving me that assignment. I promise, I don't know how to cook.
No.
But you have to tell the viewers, myself included, how you prepared this here, starting from this samp.
So with the samp, what I did, I made it simple. I don't, it's when it's Christmas, you're tired, you also want to rest. You don't want to cook the whole day. So with samp, once you hold it in the pot, it's an hour or 2 hours to cook.
And while you're explaining, sorry for interrupting, I'm going to help unwrap this.
Yes. So with the samp, you put in your pot with your a little bit of butter, and your thickener, and you just season it whichever way you like it. You don't have to complicate it. So with a pork belly, it's roasted. You marinate it however you, with your favorite marinade, and you roast your potatoes, and then you add it together, and then it roasts for about 45 minutes, and then it's ready. So these are like quick dishes. Then I prepared the lamb curry. Lamb curry, it's a bit expensive, so not everyone is privileged to have it every day. But on Christmas, because it's special, so we go an extra mile. So you have your lamb curry with your veggies of your choice. So because I had my potatoes here, I just added carrots here. So you have your lamb curry. And then it had both. You boil, add salt, that's it.
I wonder why it's called hard-bodied though. And I know it takes time to prepare that.
Yes, it takes time because it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It takes like 3 hours to
3
cook.
hours?
Yes, maximum to cook. So it takes a little bit of time. So while we're doing this, I want to teach you some few tricks.
Please
maybe on
do.
Christmas Day now.
Why not?
So while you have your lettuce, it's washed already. So what you do is you add a bit of, let's add a bit of red onion.
Oh, you don't have spoons. Just give me a spoon there.
So
you add a bit of onion.
Let's add a bit of onion.
A bit.
Maybe let's add. So maybe let's use our hands because we did wash our hands.
Oh yes.
Because we just need the onion rings.
Yeah.
Yes. So with this, and then you'll also add your
green peppers,
yellow
peppers,
yes,
red peppers.
It also gives a beautiful color. So you've got this, and then you've got your feta here. And so when you have this, you can. I don't like adding any dressing, but you can have it with your olive oil and vinegar or your dressing of your favorite. So you can have it whichever way that you like. So let's just sprinkle this around.
We'll sprinkle this around,
And just a little bit of sweetness.
Sweetness, yes.
Let's add the pineapple.
We're gonna do this, okay? We added that.
Yes.
So, because of time, and while we're watching this, we have our colleague, Bahadi Sitole, who's going to be giving us some musical item while you're preparing this for the crew. They are looking at you. They are very hungry behind us. You can see them. So, Bahadi, take it away.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round on virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Ubusuku obuhle kuthulile
Bahadi Sitole there performing for us a Christmas song because we are all in the spirit of Christmas and festive season. And of course, Chef Nels continued to dish up SA Today right at the top of the hour. They are joining you at the top of the hour. Thank you so much indeed for joining us here at the week ahead. Stay with us. We appreciate your time.